Hello, wonderful people of the internet. In today's video, let's explore how to style complex selectors in Builderius. Let's take a look. So here we are in the Builderius editor. To speed up the process, I've added my content about the ultra-modern police car. It's just a div that I've named as a card, which has two nested divs, one for content wrapper and the other one for media wrapper. The content wrapper contains a heading and a paragraph, and the media wrapper contains just an image that I called a media. And the goal of today's video is to explore the complex selectors. So one example will be that I'm just going to add a single class to the card and try to style all of the elements that are within that card from that single selector. So first, let me go ahead and add in the class name. I'll be super original. Go to the style tab and give it a class name of my card. I'm very original. And now let's say we want to style this card. So the first thing I'll do is probably give it a display flex so that the image can go above the text content visually. So I can go over to the layout tab. So let's say I want to use display flex, and then the flex direction will be column reverse because I just have two containers and I want the image to be at the top. So this is just super simple. So now we have the layout of the card. Then where the problem now happens is that we now want to style the image directly from the card. So with the pro version, what the person who originally asked the question was trying to do was just go directly to the CSS portion, which has the code, and we were trying to add styles here. So like another selector, and then put in something like image and tried to style the image directly from this selector area. Let's even try it out so that we can see it live. So I'll say maybe border radius should be full. And we're seeing that nothing is being applied. Let's try something else. Let's go with maybe something that works well. Let's say H2. And I'll say font size 4 rem. And again, nothing is applied. So the person was asking, why is nothing happening? The idea here is that when you are in the Elements tab, the only thing you can target is that class, because you are basically in the CSS for that specific class. So it has to be targeting the element itself. You cannot target any element that is outside of the element, like a child of the element or anything outside of that within this elements panel. When you're in the elements panel, you are always targeting the specific element. There's a workaround to it, but first, this is what you're supposed to know, that you cannot target things outside of the elements. Maybe they will change the logic in the future, but for now, this is the logic. So if you want to target anything that is like maybe a child of the element, then there are multiple ways you can do it. The first way is the ultra-modern way now, which is using CSS nesting. So basically, within this same selector, you can now use nesting. So just close the semicolon, and then you can nest. So I can now say, I want to target my image that is within my selector. And I can now say the border radius should be full, and it will work. So this is one super way you can do it using CSS nesting. That's why I love CSS nesting, that nowadays most of the new page builders are moving towards CSS nesting. It saves you a ton of stress. So I can go ahead and save, and I refresh. You see that my style is still applied. So that's one way you can do it using CSS nesting. The other way you can target elements is under the Selectors tab. That is what that Selectors tab is meant for creating different types of selectors. So I can now come to my Selectors tab and say dot my dash card space the image. So img, and I'll create new. So now you see that I've created the .mycard image. So we can now style it. So if you're on the free version, this is the way to go because you don't have access to the code editor. So you use this .mycard image and then you can start styling. So I can come over and say, maybe I want something like maybe padding. So we'll go to the spacing and give it a padding of 4 rem and it works. I can give it sizing of maybe 20% and that works. If I go ahead and save and refresh, you see it sticks. So this is ideally the way you would use it if you're on the free version and the general way that you are expected to do it. The elements means you are targeting the specific element. The workaround is to use nesting. Selectors is where you target any kind of selector you want. Classes, IDs, complex selectors, any type of selector. Anytime you want to go back and look at the selector, you can just go ahead and search. So I'll search for my card and you can see the different selectors I've created in my card and my card image. So I can go back to the my card image. If I want to target my card and maybe the H2 within that, can create that new element, and this time I'll say typography, and we can go to the font size and say 4 rem, and that works. So this is the ideal way to style complex selectors, but then the ultra modern way is to use CSS nesting, and the third way you can do it is to just style everything directly from your global style sheet. So you can come over to the global style sheet here. If I click on that, global styles, and go over to all CSS. Now I can basically search for that my card, and you can see all of the classes that were applied. So this was the one that was applied first with the CSS nesting. It's still there. The other ones that were applied, everything is here, and you can basically change all of your styles directly from the all CSS. This is my preferred way of styling any element directly from all CSS. I make all of my changes. The classes are generated automatically, and then I can now apply those classes wherever I need. So this is my personal way of doing it. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about the whole process? I know it can be quite confusing, but just know that elements is meant to style the specific element. Selectors is where you style any kind of selector, your IDs, your classes, your complex selectors, and other things. The only thing you can style within the elements is pseudo selectors, because the pseudo selectors are still targeting the same element. It's only when you are targeting elements that are not the direct element itself, whether it's a child element, a sibling element, or something else, that selector keyword will not work. The selector area will not work for you. But if you are targeting the specific selector, then it will work. So I hope the video is helpful. We can just show a simple example of how you will style the card. So let me go back to my all selectors, go to the my card, and we can basically style everything using nesting, because that's the way forward nowadays. You can just use nesting. And let me delete the initial one and remove the border radius and say maybe just S, then div and child 2. Ideally, I'll just add classes, but no, this will be the first child because the paragraph is actually the first child. And now I can say maybe padding should be card space, and we get our spacing and so on. You can just keep styling things directly from the my card. The nice bit about it is that you can actually create classes directly from the all CSS area. So within this all CSS, let me go ahead and format to make it look nice. I can actually say I want to create a new class or selector or anything. So I can say I want to create a new class called my dash card __ media wrapper. The moment I put the correct selector, it will appear within the global selector. So I can now search for it for my, you can see it, my card media wrapper. If I create another one, my card content wrapper, and I open and close the curly brackets, it automatically creates the class for me. Then I can just apply the classes wherever I need. So this is how I would typically work. I would typically create all of the styles directly from the All CSS and then apply the classes where I need to. But that's me. I don't know. Let me know your workflow in the comments. I hope this video has been helpful to help you understand the complex selectors and the different ways you can apply the complex selectors. The free version users, you have to go to the Selectors tab and create your complex selectors there. The free users, you have multiple options. You can either choose to use the selector directly on the element and apply CSS nesting, or you go to the Selectors tab again, but then go to the code editor area of All CSS and apply any kind of CSS that you want over there. So those are the multiple options. So I'll see you all in the next video.